Oh boy, we are just 54 days away from college basketball, and it is one of my favorite days of the year, Big East Hoops Nation, because we've got them. The schedules are hot off the presses, and we are live from New York City with a special edition of Shootaround. Before I get started, quick shout out to D. Carter on Twitter, who tweeted at me about a half hour ago that he plans his daughter's birthday party based on the Big East schedule. That is exceptional. We will not keep you waiting. We are going to start with the Fox broadcast schedule, and the Big East has the most games on broadcast television of any college basketball conference, and that is the same once again this year with at least 18 games on Fox. Here you go. What a slate, folks. I mean, it gets started right in December with Louisville and Seton Hall, and then Gonzaga and Creighton. That is quite the doubleheader. Take a look at Indiana and Butler. That's on CBS deeper into the month. St. John's and Georgetown returns to broadcast television. Cannot wait for that one. And then into January, some exciting matchups on the docket. Villanova at Marquette on February 9th is going to be thrilling. The Wildcats are on Fox more times than any other Big East team, and the reigning national champions absolutely deserve that. And then how about a CBS telecast Sunday, February 24th? That's between Villanova and Xavier, and it winds down there. That wild card Saturday, Georgetown and Marquette will be very unique. But there it is. There's your big-time showdowns across the Big East that are going to be really exciting to take in. You see that big non-conference slate there in December. How about Wisconsin and Marquette? The new Fiserv Forum. I know Golden Eagles fans are pumped up for that. It is going to be a lot of fun as the schedule forges along. Fox Saturdays, they're going to have you on the couch tuning in as we get to the team schedules now. We roll right along here, and we begin fittingly with the reigning national champions, the Villanova Wildcats, who will look to defend their title, powered by Eric Paschal and Phil Booth. Here we go. The Wildcats will open up with the DePaul Blue Demons, and they'll follow that up with some really intriguing games. What do I have my eye on? At Providence, followed by home to St. John's, and then at Creighton. I mean, that's a slate right off the bat, folks. That is a three-game slate. And then we go deeper into February now, where they'll host Georgetown, and that'll be an intriguing matchup because the Hoyas, they are going to be on the rise this upcoming year. That Saturday, February 9th game at Marquette, I really have my eye on. And then we go deeper and deeper into the schedule. Villanova and Xavier have played some classics, and they'll go at it again. The Wildcats wind down at Seton Hall, and that matchup has become one of the best since conference reconfiguration. Take a look at it, Wildcat fans. Get your screenshot. What do you think of your schedule? What's your takeaway, Villanova fans? Let us know. Take a screenshot, and we will keep rolling along here as there is the Wildcat slate. Of course, 9 home games, 9 away games. There's no fooling here. The double round robin slate is for everybody, and here's the Xavier Musketeers. Their conference schedule. We know that they'll be going to Maui in the non-con. They'll open up at DePaul at Wintrust Arena, and then they'll welcome in the Seton Hall Pirates. That matchup, a Friday night one in college hoops, always fun. They're going to go to Villanova on January 18th. And then we go deeper into this slate, and I see a 2-game road stretch that'll be crucial for the Musketeers, who will be right in the middle of the league in a jam-packed, balanced conference this upcoming year. At Georgetown, then at Creighton. That's a really interesting road swing for Travis Steele's Musketeers, and then it continues. They've got a difficult back half with the road games because you see it right there, 4 out of 5. You go to Providence and Seton Hall, and then St. John's and Butler included in there as well before they wrap up against the Red Storm. Those late conference season matchups, think about that. Villanova, St. John's, Butler, then St. John. That is a tough way to finish up. The Musketeers are going to have to be on their A game, as that is Xavier's conference schedule. The Seton Hall Pirates will open up with their rival, The St. John's Red Storm will come to the Prudential Center on December 29th for a Saturday night affair that'll be on FSN. You're not going to want to miss that one. And the Pirates have a road swing. They'll play 4 of 5 on the road, but after that point, the back half of their schedule will feature more home games than road games. They'll have 5 and 4 in the back half. You see that home swing against Creighton and Georgetown, 3 of 4 at home there, as they'll also take on Providence. And then I look down the stretch. That at St. John's, at Georgetown swing, people are really optimistic about the Red Storm and HOYAS. Seton Hall's going to have to be ready for that closing swing. And then how about the final 2 games? At home to Marquette, at home to Villanova. A lot of people are talking about those 2 teams being in the preseason top 25 nationally. Could be the top 2 teams in the conference. The Pirates will finish up with a big home swing. Final resume opportunities for them before the Big East tournament. Let's fly to Omaha. Creighton, the Blue Jays, will start off on New Year's Eve with a showdown with the Providence FRIARS at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. The Dunk is going to be on fire. Cannot wait for that matchup. It is the lone Big East Hoops game on New Year's Eve. It is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to be out there for that one. That is going to be electric. As we go deeper into this Creighton schedule, they are at Villanova after a home date with Xavier. So that's a difficult start to February for the Creighton Blue Jays. That's what I really zone in on with them. They go to Marquette to start March, and then they host Providence. So those are some swings, the start of February and the start of March for the Creighton Blue Jays as we take a look at the entire slate for them. And how about that 3-game road swing? At Villanova, at Seton Hall, at Xavier. That is what we call a steep challenge of a week for the Blue Jays. As we turn from Creighton, we told you about who they would face in the opener. The Providence FRIARS, we know that they're going to be hosting Creighton, but what will they do afterwards? Well, they're going to be hosting Villanova on Saturday, January 5th. And if you aren't in the Dunkin' Donuts Center, okay, I know the students have winter break still going on. Come back early. No, don't get out your books yet. It's only January 5th. Come back early for that game. It is going to be electric inside the Dunkin' Donuts Center. FRIARS starting off with Creighton, Nova, then at Georgetown. Intriguing start. And last year, Ed Cooley's team, when they really were beginning to play their best basketball, they knocked off Villanova at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. Going deeper into this schedule, you see 3 straight home games, Xavier, St. John's, Marquette in February, and there's the full slate for Providence. Look at the way they wind down, hosting Marquette, then a 2-game Midwest swing at Butler and Creighton before they welcome back Butler. Those 2 games against Butler down the stretch could be massive in the middle of the league. Huge seeding implications as we turn to the Butler Bulldogs, who will open up hosting a Georgetown team. The HOYAS have given the Dogs everything they can handle and more. They did last year. Butler eked out a win in D.C., but Georgetown answered with a victory at Hinkle Fieldhouse for the 2nd straight year. The Dogs' schedule features an interesting stretch at the start of February, really tail end of January there. They host Marquette and then Seton Hall. That's a good home swing for them. They've got St. John's and Villanova. You see the Villanova game Jan 22. That'll be after a date with St. John's, and then some crucial road games down the stretch at Villanova, against Xavier, and then at Providence. I think Butler's got one of the toughest ways to finish up their schedule because 2 of 3 road games, and really 3 out of the final 5 games, at Marquette, at Villanova, at Providence. You could argue that those are the toughest road dates for teams on their schedule this year. That will not be easy for the Dogs, as they will be powered by Kamar Baldwin. And we'll look to answer some questions. Here's the Marquette Golden Eagles. It is a crucial year for Marquette. Coach Wojciechowski is ready to have his team, these are all his guys, ready to take that next step. They open up at St. John's. That will be a premier opening week matchup in the conference. Then as we go along, I look at St. John's and Villanova coming to Fiserv in back-to-back games. That's a big-time stretch for the Golden Eagles. And remember 2 years ago when they knocked off Villanova in Milwaukee? It was one of the great moments since reconfiguration. February wraps up at Providence, and at Nova. And then you see at Seton Hall and Georgetown coming in. That's an interesting final stretch for the Golden Eagles, but we will find out a lot about them and St. John's in that conference opener. Happy New Year, everybody. 2019's getting started with the Red Storm and the Golden Eagles on FS1 at Carnesecca. Here's the team that everybody thinks could be the dark horse in the conference. It's Patrick Ewing in year 2 at the helm with the Georgetown Hoyas. And we know that they'll open up at Butler, but they'll follow that up, returning to broadcast television on CBS against the St. John's Red Storm. How cool will that be as we see a new-look Hoyas backcourt? James Akinjo, Matt McClung, they had a lot. Jagan Mosley back as well. They'll go up against Shamari Pons and Justin Simon on the other side. At Villanova, at Providence. Tough road stretch to start the month of February for the Hoyas. But then they come back home, and there's opportunity for them. Home dates with DePaul and Seton Hall. And they were able to beat both those teams last year. And down the stretch in this schedule, that is going to be an interesting wild card Saturday game at Marquette to wrap things up. I'm fascinated to see that matchup as we see Jesse Govan on one side, a Big East Player of the Year candidate, going up against Marquette with multiple players who are going to try to have a case in that. Here you go, Red Storm fans. I know you've been in my mentions all morning. St. John's is going to be hyped up, and there's tons of anticipation for this Red Storm team. Shamari Pons is a star, and St. John's has the pieces for Chris Mullen in year 4, a big one. The Red Storm opening up at Seton Hall, and then as we forge ahead into January, you see there a crucial stretch at Butler, then at home against Georgetown, but then at Creighton and at Marquette. 3 out of 4 on the road for the St. John's Red Storm, and they're going to wrap up down the stretch with Seton Hall and Xavier at home. That primetime game at the Garden against Seton Hall, that crowd will be really something. It has been in the past. Make sure you circle Sunday, February 17th as well. A 5 p.m. Eastern time start on FS1 between the Johnnies and Villanova. That follows Seton Hall in a big one as well. That's a big Sunday of games to keep your eye on. Sunday, February 17th. As we wrap it up with the DePaul Blue Demons, who are in year 2 in their Wintrust Arena era, and they will start off conference play inside Wintrust against last year's regular season champions. This is not an easy start for DePaul. That is for sure, as you look at Xavier, Nova, followed by the Pirates, and then at St. John's. And deeper into this schedule, a homestand for them against Villanova and Providence. This is a crucial year for the Blue Demons. They've got Eli Kane and Max Strus back. The concern is rebounding, and they're going to be looking to work on that and evolve in the preseason with that, but they've got scores. And they've got some impact transfers. And this is a Blue Demons team that believes they've got the most depth and talent that Dave Latos had in his second stint at DePaul. So they're going to try to take the next step. And if they're going to do that, they've got to get through the early grind in their conference schedule before things may settle down for them a little bit. But never an easy night in this league, folks. That is for sure. What's your takeaway on the schedule? If you're commenting in right now, feel free. We will try to get your comments on the air right now. We've got interviews with Andy Katz, NCAA.com correspondent, as well as Senior Associate Commissioner of Men's Basketball, Stu Jackson. Those will be coming up later today. And you can follow us at Big East MBB. BigEast.com has the schedule release up, and go to your team accounts as well. They've got them. But, guys, what do you think of this slate? What's your reaction to it? I think the one thing that I take away is the March 9th slate, the wild card Saturday. It's loaded. You've got Seton Hall and Villanova at the Prudential Center. That's big time. Xavier hosting St. John's. Those are 2 teams that you think St. John's is ready to take the next step. And for Xavier, you wonder where they're going in year 1 of Travis Steele without Trayvon Blewett and J.P. McCure. Those guys have graduated. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Creighton takes on DePaul. Providence hosting Butler. I think Providence and Butler could be teams that are in the top 3, top 4 of the league. And so that's going to be crucial for conference tournament seeding. And then Marquette and Georgetown. You know, for me, the two most curious teams heading into this season are Georgetown and St. John's because they've got more firepower now. Can they turn it into wins? Here's the national broadcast schedule again. What's your favorite Fox game on here? At least 18 games are on Fox this upcoming year. Over 100 of them are on FS1. And you see some CBS games sprinkled in there as well. How about the late February showdown on CBS between Villanova and Xavier? And then you see Butler and Villanova on March the 2nd. You just know that's going to be a big game. And the Dogs have always matched up well with the Wildcats. How about another one that's interesting to me is Xavier at Marquette in early January. We'll find out a lot about the Musketeers in what will be a tough road test as Marquette, with a couple of national TV appearances, their non-con is loaded with some really quality matchups against Wisconsin. That's on Fox, against Kansas State as well. That'll be a lot of fun. Big East Media Day is just over a month away, and we've been giving you tons of great interviews on the show throughout the last month. You can, again, go to @BigEastMBB on Twitter. Have a question or comment that you really want answered. I'm @John_Fanta on Twitter. And a reminder, everybody plays 9 home games and 9 road games. So no matter which way you slice it, everybody's got to go through the same opponents. The paths are all different, but this scheduling team of Mike Coyne, Brianna Weiss, as well as Stu Jackson, they ran through this 150 times. That's right, 150 drafts of this schedule have been made. And this is the product they came up with, so go to BigEast.com. Start marking your calendars. I'm going to start marking mine right now, and we'll be back with more later this afternoon. Thanks for tuning in, and get those pens and calendars out, folks.